Hello dear students, welcome to Computer Science Department. So in the last class we have discussed some of the important concept of OOP, and later we discussed some of the advantages. What are the advantages of using the OOPs concept? Yes. So now we are discussing some of the disadvantages or limitations. It is also called as limitations or disadvantages of OOP. So that the first one, limitation or disadvantage, we can say. So OOP software is not having set standards. Means the OOP software, whatever the software is there, it is not that kind of standards. That's the main drawback. Yes, it does not have a set standard, a standard maintain model. That's the first one. Second one, the drawing flow diagram means using OOPs concept. You are writing program. So just compare with the procedure oriented programming. In simple C++, assume that simple C++, you are written program as well as you written flowcharts also. How you are written flowchart? How the control goes. Based on that, we can write the flow diagram very easily. But it is very difficult to draw the flow diagram or flow chart of object-oriented programming programs. Yes, if you written program using object-oriented programming, it's very difficult to draw the flow charts. That's why it's very complex process. And there is ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Then third one, to convert real-world problems into an object-oriented model is difficult. Means the real-world problems means day to day what we are facing, so many problems. Yes, to solve that with the help of object oriented programming, it's very difficult to solve that. So the real world problems, yes, we can, it is very difficult. A real world problems are solve model very difficult with the help of OOPs concept. And the last one, the classes are overly generalized. So generalized means general, common. Yes, whatever the classes we are using here, those are all generalized or it is common to all. Common method. Is it clear? So these are the some of the limitations. Yes, actually the compared to limitation there are so many advantages just because we have to tell some disadvantage also. So here I mentioned some of the disadvantages. The first one is the OOP softwares is not having set standards. So standard illa anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, right? The second one, the flow diagram, that is flow chart in draw ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, is very difficult. And third one, to convert real world problems into an object oriented model is also very difficult. And the last one, the classes are overly generalized. The classes are overly generalized, means it is the general things. So these are the some of the disadvantages or limitations of OOP. Is it clear? So now we are going for the last part of this chapter, that is applications of OOP. The applications of OOP is the last part of this chapter. What is this application? Means the area where we are using the OOPs concept. Advantages is different, applications are different. So advantages means what is the advantage using that method or using OOP, what are the advantages, ಏನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಅದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Application means ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. The application means the area where we are using the object oriented concept. So in the first area, the computer graphics, some computer graphics software what we are developing. Yes, computer graphics applications where we are using. So there we are using this concept, that is object oriented concept. Computer graphics, nowadays there are so many graphics oriented pictures. Yes, gaming. So there we are using this concept OOP. Second one, CAD or CAM software. So CAD means computer aided design as well as computer aided manufacturing. So this is normally using industry. Industrially ನಾವು ಈ applications ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ softwares ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. CAD, CAM application. So to develop CAD and CAM application, we are using this OOPs concept only. Is it clear? So CAD means computer aided design, CAM means computer aided manufacturing. To develop such software, we are using OOPS concept. Then object-oriented database. The third one is object-oriented database. So we know the meaning of data and database. Data means is a collection of some raw facts. Database means is a large collection of data. Is a large collection of data, we call it as database. To develop such a database, we are using this OOPS concept, object-oriented database. Not a simple database, it is an object-oriented, object-related database if you want to develop. So we can use object-oriented database. Then user interface design. User interface means user interface. Yes, the user working with any mobile or any computer. So there is an interface. Yes. With the help of that interface only, I can easily communicate with that system. To develop such interface software like Windows or some other Android, the different operating system. So there also we are using object-oriented concept, right? So user interface design means the user can easily interact with the system. So interact madbekandre there is one interface. To develop such interface, we are using object-oriented programming. Then real-time system. So some it is a very fastest computers that now use real-time systems. Yes, within fraction of second alli ಏನೇನು ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು record ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. So there also we are using this one, OOPS concept. Then simulation and modeling. Simulation is nothing but the system simulation anta barte. System simulation as well as system modeling. There also we are using this concept. Then AI. AI means artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Normally now robot anta ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. Yes, robot is the best example for artificial intelligence. But what type of intelligence? Artificial. Artificial means the user only created that. Is it clear? So the artificial intelligence and expert system. Expert system means supercomputer or good quality or expert. Now best. Yes, they can do everything. So to develop such computers, there also we are using this concept, object-oriented program. That is artificial intelligence as well as expert system. Then HyperText and HyperMedia. HyperText and HyperMedia. So we know that HyperText, Google that now search ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. They will give some links. When you click that link, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. Yes, so that text is called hyperlink. To create hyperlink also we are using this concept. Similarly, client-server system. Client and server system. So ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು database ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿತೀವಿ. Client and server system. So client and server means what? Suppose ಈ ನಾವು ಗೂಗಲ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕು, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಗೂಗಲ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ if you press enter key, it gives some result. How it gives? Whatever you type, it will send to the Google server. From there, the result will come back. Within fraction of second ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. How it works actually? The client means user. User sending the request to the server and the server supply. It is similar to in hotel. ಈ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ದಲ್ಲಿ client, server means ಯಾರು ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Is it clear? Similarly here. So client server system means where the database we are using. ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ client as server ಇಬ್ರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Then the last one, office automation system. Office automation system is nothing but office related some softwares. That is MS Office. The best example is MS Office. So there also we are using object-oriented programming concept, right? So these are some of the application area where we can use this OOPS concept. What are those areas? Computer graphics, then CAD or CAM software, object-oriented database, user interface design like Windows, then real-time system, simulation and modeling, artificial intelligence, that is robots and expert system, HyperText and HyperMedia, client-server system, as well as office automation system. So these are some of the few area where you can use this concept. Which concept? The object-oriented concept or object-oriented programming. Yes. So these are some of the part we covered in this chapter. So here the end of this chapter, that is chapter number 6. Which one? Chapter number 6, basic concept of OOP. Is it clear? So in this chapter, what are the things we have discussed? We begin with the definition of OOP. We first expanded. What do you mean by OOP? Object-oriented programming. Then we given the definition of OOP. So in that definition we told it is a paradigm, programming paradigm. Yes, it uses objects. Yes, then we discuss some of the important, very important characteristics of OOP. We have discussed the important characteristics of OOP or the basic concept of OOP we have discussed. In that, what are those we have discussed? Object, class, polymorphism, inheritance, dynamic bending, message passing, etc. Those all we have discussed in the basic concept of OOP. So later we discuss some of the advantages of using object-oriented programming as well as some of the disadvantages. Disadvantages is nothing but limitations of using object-oriented programming. And the last part we have discussed some of the applications. The applications where we are using this concept. Is it clear? So these are the some part covered in chapter number 6, that is basic concept of OOP. Is it clear? So in the next class we will start with another chapter. Okay, thank you.